All right. We're seeing more people joining by the minute. So thank you everyone for joining this webinar. We really appreciate that you're taking a little bit of your time this afternoon to learn what we have to share here with you. Um, let's see. Again, my name is Horacio Ochoa, and I am the head of marketing here at Bloomz. I'm really excited to be here and to share with all of you a preview of what's coming for the new school year. Here with me is Chaks Appalabattula. He is joining from someplace in the Caribbean, apparently. Um, Although he's wearing his button-down shirt, so kind of interesting combination there. But again, thank you for being here. We will walk you through some of the things, exciting news that we have to share with you. Uh, if you are into social media and you want to share your thoughts about what you're seeing, maybe you can add the hashtag Bloomz News and tag us with @BloomzApp. That would be great, so we can follow the conversation, see what you're thinking, and other folks as well. So let's get started. First off, we want to kick it off with just a big thank you to all of you. Recently, we were notified that we have received the EdTech Digest Awards for Best Communication Solution for the classroom, and that's really exciting. And it's only thanks to folks like you that use the app every day and use it to communicate more with parents and with students. And so we really appreciate it. This puts us in a really um, uh, humbling spot of being the recipient of Best Communication App for fourth year in a row when looking at both the Tech Advocate and the EdTech Digest. So we really appreciate it, and thank you very much for that. So the first thing we want to do here very quickly is to just share with all of you the recent developments in our application and the things that you can already see in our platform, just as a refresher, because some of these things came in very recently and we want to share with you what's new. By the way, if you have any questions, Zoom, if you're not familiar with it yet, has this Q&A functionality where you can enter any questions that you have, and we'll try to answer them as we go through the presentation. We'll pause from time to time to answer those questions. And if not, at the end, we'll leave some time to do so as well. So, like I mentioned, we want to just I want to walk you very quickly through some of the things that we just recently launched. You probably saw this in the email that went out inviting you to the webinar. We recently launched Robocalling. We're really excited about that feature. It's something that many schools and school districts have been asking for, so they can really consolidate all the communication into one platform. So now with Bloomz, you can send audio messages to parents' home, and they can be delivered to their landlines. In addition to obviously all the communication that you can do with the app, but true to Bloomz, we've added some functionality to make it really unique. And with Bloomz, you can enter the whatever post you're sending through the Bloomz app. And if you're using robocalling, then it'll use text-to-speech functionality to automatically convert what you're putting into your post into voice, into an audio message. But in addition to that, you can customize it. Whatever, if you want to customize the voice content, the SMS message, or even the languages. So lots of customization in our robocalling functionality, and we're really excited about it. This is a premium feature for schools and school districts. So if you're a school administrator or a district administrator and you want to learn more about it, We'll give you contact information at the end of the presentation. We'll be excited to hear about it. And if you're already a premium school, then have a conversation with us. Send us an email to support@bloomz.com or sales@bloomz.com, and we'll help you enable this functionality. Another thing we recently added to our app is post templates. So this is one of those things that, you know, in our effort to save you time in your communication with parents and students, we think that there are many communications that you may be sending regularly. Or if you, as an administrator, want to set a tone or a template for how communications need to go out to the parents or to the students, you can create templates in Bloomz and then share them with your community, whether it's with other teachers or with your administrator. You can do that as well. So really great thing for time saving. And again, this is a feature that premium users can start using. Drafts. So post drafts, this is one of those things where you are, you know, creating a post, you get distracted. Suddenly when you come back, you don't have that post anymore, or you lose your train of thought. With post drafts, now the app is going to auto save whatever you've entered on your post so far. And if your computer shuts down, whenever you come back, you'll have that saved. You can also save it, you know, intentionally and come back to it later. This is a feature that is available to everyone, to free and premium, and it's already out there in Bloomz. Another feature that it's also available to everyone, free and premium, is audio clips. And if you're familiar with apps like WhatsApp or with even Facebook Messenger, where you can record a clip and send it to your recipients, same functionality here. You can, you know, from your app, just click record audio and record something for parents or for students. And then you can also add it from, if you saved it from a previous file, then you can add it to your post, and it will go out to everyone in your post. We also added new sharing options. So if you remember, in the past, we only had Facebook sharing from your post, and you could decide to share or not with your Facebook page. Now you can see more options. So you have also Twitter available to you, and also RSS feeds. So if you have a website for your school and you want to have some of the posts published in your website, you can use the URL that you'll find in your community settings and paste that into your website. If you have an IT person, I'm sure they will know how to pull this, but we've made it so easy that you can just basically copy that URL and put it in a HTML snippet in your website, and it'll pull whatever communications you want to be public. So again, this is an option that if you don't want, you don't use, or if you want to keep some things private and some things public, you can still do that and use this sharing functionality. Finally, lots of learnings this year, particularly with the pandemic and, you know, the coronavirus situation that we had in every school suffered this year. We had a lot of people joining the platform and putting a lot of stress on the back end. You probably experienced something back in March, but as of that, our engineering team jumped on this situation very quickly and started working very like 24/7 to solve the situation. And really what has happened is that we've improved the app's performance incredibly. Like, if you've used Bloomz in the past couple of months, you've probably noticed that it's much more responsive, it's much faster. And to give you an idea, you know, we've reduced the time it takes to load a page in our application by 600%. So huge effort from the engineering team to really get this app into a really state-of-the-art experience when you go into Bloomz and you can navigate the application very, very rapidly. This is just a quick overview of what we've launched so far. I wanted to just very quickly, since we have the functionality here, ask you folks for a quick question. We talked about the coronavirus situation and how lots of schools went really into distance learning for the past 3-4 months, and we wanted to see if you guys could help us figure out what method you will be using when you come back to school in the fall. Will you be in person 100%, maybe remote 100%, or maybe a combination of both? I can see the responses. Lots of uncertainty right now going on. I can tell that, I'll share the results in a second, but yeah, we're seeing 69% of, close to 70% of the folks don't know yet. And I think that's a very important topic, and it's a great segue for what Chaks is going to talk about right now. There's a lot of uncertainty on what's going to happen when we come back to fall, and with the experience that we have in the past 3 months as a company, we've learned a lot about what teachers and administrators need for distance learning, and that's why we've made all these improvements that now Chaks is going to talk about. So Chaks, take it away.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Horacio. You can hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me from my sunny beach background. Thanks to Zoom, I could create virtual experience for myself and for all of you. Once again, I'm the founder and CEO. Thank you so much for taking the time. This is a very exciting time for us in terms of the innovation that we are doing. Even though there's so much challenge in the world, I think this is also an opportunity for us to continue our innovation. So today I'm going to walk you through a couple of things that we are working on. Given this blended learning scenario being more critical than in the past, with the COVID situation, all your kids are different, pretty much remote, even before, and maybe who knows, even when the schools come back, it could still be a blended scenario or somewhat of more of a remote scenario. So we want to make sure that the app that you're already loving and using can continue to fulfill on the promise of being that unified app for all communication. So that's been our mission from day one, and we're continuing to innovate in that space. And we heard loud and clear, we already have the existing portfolios component, which allows students to submit their work, parents to submit the work for the younger kids, as well as the teachers to submit the work. And we've gotten quite a bit of feedback about how we can make that much more valuable for all the students, teachers, and parents. And then a part of that is the ability for teachers to be able to take a piece of activity, be able to create it, and maybe even have it as a library of content, share it with other teachers, then be able to take that and assign it to the entire classroom or a set of students or an individual student, and have the students to submit those responses back right through the app in such a way that the parents are in the loop, the teachers are obviously, if you want to put a workflow, you can put the workflow to get the approval mechanism, and then really keeps that whole entire flow seamless. And this totally makes sense for particularly those younger kids, where you don't want to end up having to use one more tool just for tracking assignments. Again, it fits into our vision of being that unified communication. But at the same time, we're also, I think some questions already asked about, will we be able to make these assignments be kind of added to the, let's say, gradebook on Google Classroom? Will there be some kind of integration with other systems? Yes, definitely. That's one of the things that we're working towards. And we want to make sure that we are not just creating one more silo, but we're seamlessly flowing the information from your student information system through the rostering to your learning management system to Bloomz, and still make sure that the parents, who are the stakeholders and who are even more important stakeholders now, more so than ever, that we want to make sure that their experience is seamless. So with that, let's switch into a few of the screens, and let the questions keep coming as we go through. We might take some of those questions as we go through, or we'll pause it around somewhere midway through, and then we try to answer some more questions. Again, we had a session this morning, so hopefully I'll try to preempt some of those questions by answering them to make sure that you're satisfied with the answers that you're getting. So this, again, first of all, in addition to all the updates that Horacio shared, you might have already also experienced a new refreshing look of the Bloomz app that we pushed in the last couple of weeks. I know some of you may have seen it towards the end of your school year, but I'm personally very excited about this new look. It's very refreshing. It's very contemporary. It brings kind of, again, what Bloomz is known for is to bring those great experience for all your stakeholders in a way that's welcoming. With this app, with the new changes that will be delivered as part of this enhancements to the portfolio and assignments, you will see that there is going to be a new tab here, the assignments tab. And then you already know that the plus button or the quick links tool is what we call quick links. If you click on it, that's your entry point to all the tools. And you already are aware of most of the other tools. And there's going to be a new tool that is going to be added to this quick tools or quick links. That is the assignment tool. So this is going to be your entry point for those activities that you want to assign and be able to track who submitted, when they submitted. And for these assignments, we're also going to be adding a due date, and we're going to be linking it to calendar view so that you can also see on the calendar when those assignments are due. So there's lots of that work is also going to happen. And so let's continue this journey. Like, for example, if you click on the assignment, now first it goes and takes you to an existing repository of your content, your activities that you may have previously created or even pulled from the community. So this is where you can also organize them into different collections. Again, the whole process of creating, sharing, and being able to organize is something that we're going to be adding value to your experience. And particularly think about in a district like an entire district or even a set of schools or within your school, being able to share this content of activities among the same grade levels and so on is going to be also made possible. So here, if I were to, let's say I start from the first time and I don't have enough content yet, I'm going to create something new. There is, again, plus button or the quick links button right here. If you click here, that takes you into the ability to create this content. Now here, you can start with, obviously, the student instructions. You can add voice instructions. You can add video instructions. You can just upload photos. So these are the instructions. I'll type it here. So you can do all that multimedia-based instructions that you can share with the students. And then there is the templates. So these templates, again, you will see that when I click on it, you will have a rich set of tools that you can upload files, you can upload worksheets, you can also create a drawing, you can add notes, you can add photos, videos, links. So again, a rich way for you to create a set of templates or worksheets that you want students to work on. And then there are specifically notes for the teachers as well as parents. This is very important, particularly now that you want parents to also help students extend that learning experience at home. Let's say you're asking the kids to submit some assignment. Now the parents will get to see how they can help this child while the student is going to be doing this homework. What can they assist with? What can they do? What can they not do? Or what resources they can look up? So again, we want to add again, audio. I think there was some suggestions in the morning session about can we also add audio instructions and video instructions. We're going to take that input as well so that you can add different types of content to any of these sections. And then there was another question about are we going to be able to add ability to link standards? That's something that we have it on the roadmap. For the first phase, we might deliver without the standards, but again, eventually we'll catch up and deliver those as well. And that way you can link to various standards, Common Core standards, as well as different other standards. Again, Bloomz is known to be a tool that caters all the way from early childhood to the high school. So we want to be able to facilitate standards of different types to be able to be linked and so on. So assuming that, I create this activity now, I can also organize into different collections. I can create a new collection, or I can link to existing collections. And then now that activity is now created and saved in my library. As I said, if I don't have something, or if I want to really browse some great resources that are out there in the community, simply, tapping on the community allows me to browse existing content. You can filter by grade, subject, search, and obviously different ways to further identify the top content and most recent content and so on. So there are lots of ways in which you will be able to continue to do that. So again, I just want to make sure that when it's very clear about, you can start creating library of content, you can organize it. So for example, now I can go into a particular collection, I can edit it, I can if I want to delete or cancel all those things, you can do that. Now, if I take an existing assignment, I want to go ahead and assign this one. I can assign this to the entire classroom, or I can assign to multiple students or a specific student. In the current portfolio tool, I know there is a limitation of being able to link to a particular one single student, but with this, we're also going to enhance so that you can assign these portfolios as well as these assignments to the entire class or specific set of students or multiple students. And then when you make an assignment, you can also categorize using folders. So that way, if you have like a math with different types of subfolders that you want to create, you can do that, and then you can further link them so that you are able to categorize them and be able to easily find that later. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that. So again, I'm going to come back to this library. Let's say I finish this one. Now I come back to my home screen. Now, if I want to just see all the assignments that I have assigned or I have scheduled, anything that is archived, I just have this tab called assignments. There is going to be an indication to show you what are the pending assignments right here. So you click here, you will be able to see the assignments right from here. And you will also be able to see that if, let's say, as the students are submitting the work, there's a couple of screens that eventually we will get to. We're still, this is a work in progress. But once you click on an assignment, you can actually see all the assignments submitted by different students in one collective view. And you can also see who hasn't submitted, who needs to further submit, and you will be able to remind them from there. So there's lots of ways in which we want to make that whole process of collecting assignments also simple. But if there is a new assignment, a notification, you will come to your notification bar. You will also be able to see under the notifications, there is a new section called assignments. So you will be able to see quickly, and then from there you can approve, discard, or send a further comment for the resubmission. So again, I'll pause here and then see whether you're able to track everything that I just shared, which is I shared how you start with the home screen. You have a new tab that gives you instant access to your assignments. You also have the quick tool for assignment, and from here you can also go into your assignment from your library. From the library, you can also go into the community content and again come back to it and so on. So there's lots of things that I wanted to bring and then pause here. So Horace, you are there? Some questions that make sense?
We do. We have a few questions. First one, people asking, when is this going to be available?
Yeah, so right now we are working towards kind of, I would say, phased release. One is first we want to be able to make it available where you can start potentially pre-creating the library of content. So the ability to create content, start able to share with other community members, and be able to find out what content is out there that you want to use for your classes and so on. I think that's the first phase of what we will probably deliver, and then the second phase of that. But most of it we want to be able to deliver, most likely before the end of July, or or as I said, like in phases, but definitely in August it will be fully delivered.
Great. Another question here. Is the community content just within your school district or worldwide, or like in other platforms?
Yeah, I think we will make it available wherein you will be able to filter just by your community, your school district. That way there's some that wanted to make sure that they review, approve, standardize. So that way you can filter it by your district or your schools. And then there's also broadly, also you can share across the entire Bloomz community. And then I see another question about, is this only on app? No, it's actually, again, something I'm just showing you the mobile experience for now, but this functionality will be available on the desktop. It will be available on the iPads. It will be available on, mobile apps. It will be available on all the devices.
So a couple of questions about integrations with things like Google Classroom, Schoology.
Yeah, so that's something, again, we are working in parallel. In fact, we've been approached by Google directly also that, they are seeing a great demand for Bloomz and Google Classroom integration. So we're working with them as we speak. So again, we don't have like an exact date, but again, most likely it will align with around the same time wherein before the school year, there will be an ability to do single sign-on through Google Classroom, as well as when you make an assignment here, be able to show that right within Google Classroom Gradebook, and potentially the other way too. So we're excited about lots of possibilities. I just want to let you know that we are actively working on it. When we do this, we will potentially do it in such a way that it can work with other systems through the LTI interface. But again, that's there are few things that we will do another webinar probably sometime next month as we get more clarity on some of the other features, like particularly the Google Classroom integration and so on. So stay tuned. But at a high level, we are definitely working towards it. It's one of the most commonly requested features for sure.
Question here about the directions that you give parents or students. Will they have a translation option?
Yes. So that's again one thing that was requested, and it totally makes sense. Anytime we have, I know that we have exposed translation in many parts of the system, and there may be few parts we would still like to expose. But in this case, I think this totally makes sense that there should be a translation option. So we have already taken that feedback, and we will be incorporating that.
Couple of questions about due dates. Can you add a due date for the assignment?
Yeah, I was briefly mentioning that as I was kind of demonstrating. I don't have the screenshot to show it, but when you are able to, when you're making the assignment, that's when we want to be able to allow you to put a due date, and we also want to be able to ideally link that to the calendar. That means that you should be able to, or even parents and students should be able to see it from the calendar as well, so that they kind of get a reminder for that.
Looks like we have some fans about the new UI and the new UX that we have launched in the mobile apps, and they're wondering, will we have it in the web browser?
I know this person very well, so but yeah, so it's glad that we're glad that you like our UI, but we will be working on making that experience also on the desktop. It's definitely an experience that I'm looking forward to. So, but as you can see, there's a lot that we're trying to chew and bite, and we want to make sure that we deliver this in the most optimal manner. So first is functionality that will deliver your needs, and then continue to innovate and make the experience better as well. Yeah, definitely makes sense.
Okay. So question about video upload limits. And maybe you can explain whether there will be any limits here, and particularly in as it relates to the assignments.
Yeah. So again, we have actually even over the last couple of months, we have made a lot of enhancements. We have seen a lot of media, particularly video usage on the product, and we'll continue to support higher limits. And we already right now, the limit is based on the upload limit, not based on the size of it. Obviously, there's also limits that might be controlled by your account level, premium versus free. But you should be able to upload a video that takes up to 30 minutes in terms of the time it takes to upload. So you could have, we have teachers and administrators that upload 10 minutes, 15 minutes videos, and you should not have a problem. We do recommend, and based on our experience as well as what we have heard from the users, and we do track the usage in terms of the amount of time people watch in the videos and so on. So it's been our experience that most people watch shorter videos much more than the longer videos, particularly when you talk about parents and so on. So we highly, highly recommend that if you want to share multiple like longer video, if possible, try to break it down so that you get more attention to each video. But again, at the same time, we do understand there are certain things. Maybe let's say you're reading a book and you want to record a 10-minute video. You want to be able to do that, and you can do that.
Question about free versus paid assignments. Are they free or premium?
So this functionality itself will be available for both the free as well as the paid users. Again, obviously there are other limits that might get you into the how long you can use some of those features and so on, but you know all of that. But I want to make sure that this, one of the things that Bloomz is known for, and we want to be able to make sure that everybody experiences, is the promise of being that one unified app. So being able to see all the tools being in one place and being able to reduce that friction for your students, for your parents, for sure. We know that there is a lot of research that is out there saying that if we can get the parents to be more effectively engaged, you can see the needle on the student outcomes move significantly. So we believe that that's why this having that experience on all the accounts, we want to be able to make that possible. I think there was also some question about how can students respond to this. Will the student experience? So that's actually a good segue into the next one, unless there is other one or two questions that are more important.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, so let's jump into the student experience, very similar to what we have shown on the teacher side. Now the students can also be able to respond online, and their experience also is going to be significantly enhanced. First of all, so again, when a student logs in, if there is, I want to make sure that some of you who may have or may not have experience, we have actually 3 modes for student experience. One is obviously no student experience. We're talking about like a pre-K kids or younger kids where you don't want students to have to even log in. It's only the parents that can contribute. So we have an option in the settings where you can allow parents to contribute to the portfolios, whereas the students may not log in. Then there is something called shared account mode, wherein you can give a QR code that's common for all the class students. Now, this QR code is simply something that they can scan, and then they can pick their name, and then they can start to submit their portfolios and so on. Now, that will be enhanced with the assignments as well that they can submit to. Now, as you are comfortable giving each individual student an individual account, we also, again, we integrate with your student information system data for premium scenarios. So at that point, you can also create all these accounts and then keep them in sync with your existing student rosters. And those students, when they log in, they will see a new tab, assignments tab, and they will see a clear badge count that shows all the pending assignments that they have not submitted. So it clearly draws their attention. They know where to work on, what's important. They can still jump to other aspects of their thing, like they can see the behavior, they can see their portfolios that they may be submitting on their own. And then any assignment also eventually goes into the portfolio once it is submitted. But from here, they can play the instructions. And from here, they can submit the work. Again, this can work on the tablets, Chromebooks, desktop, and you go in. We're going to be enhancing this experience so that now we're talking about kids that need simple way to understand what to do next. So as you can see here, they can attach a drawing, or they can upload a video, they can upload a file, or even take a note. So they can do that. So each of them, for example, you click on notes. Now we're going to make it very easy for them to simply submit notes. So they feel like they're submitting like on a notebook, and then they can add multiple types of responses to a response as well. And then, like for example, if it is drawing, we're also enhancing our drawing tools. We're going to provide different types of pens. We are also going to provide multiple sheets that you can add. We're also, this is of course mobile experience, but on the desktop also we're going to be taking the full real estate that is out there, so that kids can actually contribute and really take on worksheets, annotate on it. They can add voice to it. They can also add text to it, which is not there in the current tool. So there's a lot of that, those options that we're working on that will make that whole interactive experience for the students to be able to whiteboard, add on top of some worksheets or whatever they're signing up or they're responding to. So they really can do all of that, and then that will come back to you for your reviews. Similarly, videos, they can record the videos and save it. So there's multiple ways that they will be able to do that.
There's a question here, Chaks. are you able to add another teacher to your classroom so they can see, you know, the student submissions?
Yeah, so right now you know that in Bloomz you already have the ability to add multiple teachers to your classroom. Now these assignments will be made their classroom specific. So even if one teacher is assigning, other teachers will be able to see it, will be able to monitor that as well. So we will make these things shared resources for the classroom for those teachers.
There's a question here about adding graphic organizers. I'm not exactly sure what that would mean. I don't know if you know.
We would like to, you know, if Rhonda, if you can maybe add some more detail around what you mean by graphic organizers, you know, we'll definitely like to,
Okay.
to organize information. So maybe, you know, if you can, we will follow up with you just to understand a little bit more about what you have in mind, but definitely within the scope, if it is there, we should be able to incorporate because we're still in the development stage. I think specifically about the Schoology, will you use LTI or API? Again, I think, you know, right now we're thinking about the LTI approach so that we can you know, seamlessly integrate with multiple systems out there. We do also have contact with the Schoology that has also been in the past reached out to us. So we're going to take that as a feedback for us to get back to you on that, how we plan to do that.
Sorry. A few other questions here. Question about QR codes. We currently do QR codes for student accounts, and you can pull those from your class settings.
Correct. Correct.
For the students, there's a question about can they do markup on uploaded files in assignments? I think you answered that the answer is yes.
Is there a gradebook capability? No, but again, as we said, like, you know, we would ideally like to integrate with existing gradebooks. So we would provide the ability for some of that, like, you know, there are some standard interfaces through LTI interfaces to make these be available where you can plug them into your existing learning management systems and so on. So that's the approach that we plan to take.
There's a couple of questions about behavior. We're going to touch on that later, but just to clarify about a question here, whether it's that for premium, behavior is already available for free customers as well, and then Chaks will touch on additional features that we're bringing.
Yeah, we're going to touch upon some of the enhancements that we're doing for behavior as the next part of this webinar as well. Will the teachers be able to give feedback on the student work in the app with a note or with voice recording? I think that's a good point. Right now, yes, if you saw that screen where I think we were trying to send a suggestion here, I think, you know, here is where you can give feedback. But I think we'll try to make that one, maybe add multiple ways to submit that feedback.
Question here, is there any place to record health check?
What do you mean by health check, as in like for the kids' health records?
I think that's what Lori's talking about, which we don't currently have that functionality.
Are you looking at it from the perspective of this COVID situation, Laurie? I mean, it would be good to understand the context for your question.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing that we learned now. So we're definitely taking some of these comments and questions to see what further makes sense. I mean, definitely, you know, we do have like lots of ways in which you can capture some of this data. For example, when we get into the behavior, you will also see, but maybe there is a way in which you can capture the temperature check through the behavior component also as one of the activities that you can capture. But because it is a record that stays with the child and you can categorize it and so on.
Okay. Do you want to continue and maybe we can tackle a few of this?
So let's go through, and then if there are questions that we missed now, we'll try to come back and close them towards the end of it. But I do want to go through the next set of things that are related to the behavior module. Some of the questions were already there about the behavior. Again, this is another thing that we're very excited about. As you already know, we have invested in unifying a lot of these tools that teachers are using right now, spread across literally 5 to 12 different tools. Now with Bloomz, we have already been able to demonstrate how unifying that is tremendous value, both for teachers to save the time, but more importantly for the parents, because now they have less friction to jump from app to app to app. Imagine like they have one kid and versus 2, 3 kids now. They're working, they're cooking at home, they're taking care of the children. I mean, you don't want to add burden, and that's really where Bloomz shines the most. Now, what we are doing is to just to add one more note there. Our behavior, I would say for sure, is even more advanced than any other behavior component that is out there. For example, there are other apps that give a kind of a character for the kid at the beginning of the year, and after that, they're just getting points. Whereas the way we have done in Bloomz is we have gamified that. And you all know that the kids really love that ability to be motivated at every milestone levels that you can configure again to say, okay, my egg is going to hatch into a completely different monster, different character, based on me earning those positive points. Again, the points and the types of behaviors, interactions, they're all configurable, customizable. Now with this, you can also standardize across the entire school, entire district. And some of the schools and teachers who belong to those states and schools where there is a standardization, particularly this PBIS reporting, that allows you to now capture this data, not only at the classroom level, but across the entire school or even at the district level. And then now identify the trends that allow you to now, make some informed choices about where you can further improve. It could be by classrooms, by teachers, by students, by the types of behaviors that you're observing. So it really gives you lots of ways. So let me just jump into a few of those things. This is still a work in progress, but hopefully it will give you some insights into what we're working on. So you already know that our behavior module, wherein you can automatically see these things. Now, first of all, this is also going to be made available. There's going to be a setting that allows schools administrators to say whether any teacher can access any kid and give points to any kid across the school. So for example, a teacher who's not necessarily teaching one particular kid, but observes either an extremely good behavior or maybe something that requires attention of a kid's behavior in a hallway or in a playground or some gym or wherever. So they should be able to tag a particular child with the particular behavior and also identify the location of it. And there are certain types of behavior where we will highlight them. So that's what these flags are. So you can requires green means like kudos, means like something extremely good work done. So it's a shout out that you're giving, and everybody in the school who's associated with that student, any teacher will see it and they can recognize that student. And then the orange is something that is watch list. That means like somebody needs to pay attention. And the red means obviously the other extreme. There's something that requires a lot more deeper attention. So again, these are all ways to escalate a certain level of behaviors that I think, again, given our module is so configurable, I know given the blended scenario, you might want to now think about ways in which you can drive positive online behaviors, right? For example, is the student joining on time online? Is the student positively following the instructions online? Is the student creating a positive learning environment for others, or is he distracting? Is he, so there's lots of ways in which you can drive those behaviors module. I believe like those teachers that may not be using in the past may even find it useful in the online scenario, because now you have a way to keep check on the student's behavior. And the best part is that this information is also made visible to the parents of those children in the parents' accounts, so instantly or like on a daily basis. So this is a great way to drive positive, online citizen behavior for your kids. And then you, this is again part of that PBIS module at the school level. When you get it at the school level, now you will be able to start tracking this analysis part of it. Like quickly, you can see by week, by month, by year, and then you can drill in more. If you want to analyze now for the staff, across the staff, you can then, identify over a time period, by staff, and then you can see how many interactions are done, what is the positivity index for those classrooms across those teachers. And you can also drill into a particular staff member. You can see all the different ways they were offering these points at various levels. And then you can drill down by students. Again, all of these things is data that you're already capturing, but these reports will make it extremely powerful and easy to use. And the same thing, you can see which are the most commonly used activities versus others. You can also now analyze the same things by trends. The same thing now you can do it for students. You can drill into a student. You can see by the students' specific activities, which staff have been assigning different points. Maybe if some of different staff are also giving, then you can see all of that. You can see the interactions. Again, this is just to give you a snapshot of the kind of work that we're doing to make this data be more actionable and meet those PBIS standards requirements. So I'll pause here. Let's see. So I saw some questions. I'll start from maybe the top to bottom here.
A couple of questions about behavior and who sees not only the behaviors that you're reporting, but also the flags that you talked about that it's a new feature.
Yeah, so that the flags and the reporting is only part of the new premium for the schools that they can turn on for the PBIS reporting.
Sorry, the question was who can see it? Who can see the flags and who can see the behavior reports?
Great question. So as I said, like the flags will only be seen by the staff members, and then there is a setting that the administrator will be able to control whether all teachers can see all other kids or only their kids of their classrooms. So that's a configuration that the administrator will be able to control.
This question about PBIS, have you touched on PBIS or, sorry, I was reading the question.
Yeah. So that's PBIS. What is PBIS? So there is positive behavior. I forgot the exact extension of it, but if you see Google on PBIS, there is a particular standard that particular, let's say, states in Ohio, I believe, Kentucky, some other places, they've even standardized across the entire states. So there is a requirement, there is even funding to make sure that those are put in place so that they can analyze, take actions. As I said, like, some of the reports will also give you the ability to say, where do you see certain behaviors of the kids more? Let's say, is it in the hallways that kids are not behaving as well as they should be? Or maybe in the bus, or is it in the playground? So you will be able to analyze and then see what actions you might want to actually take. Okay, there you go. A positive behavior intervention supports. Thank you, Sherry, for giving more detail on that one.
So there's a couple of questions on how current functionality, like when I had a new student come in late in the year, the parents had trouble becoming a member of our class. Can parents sign into our class at any point in time? The answer is yes. So you basically invite them like any other parent to your class. They join and they will be able to see all the information in the classroom.
You're saying the parents?
Yes, parents.
So the parents will only be able to see what is assigned for that particular child.
Sorry, the question was, can they join later in the year? The year has started.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that they are able to do even now. Maybe I'm missing some part of the question there as I was reading another question. So are you saying that can they join? Yes, they can join. And can they view what was assigned to the entire class? Yes. So if there was something assigned to the entire class, when the student joins, the student will also be able to see those assignments and whatever the updates from the past as well. But of course, if they're not due, they're not due anymore.
Question about translation in the assignments, whether it will be available and also in the documents, in the reports.
In the reports. So definitely in the assignments, the parents part of it, we're going to support the translation part based on the feedback that we received. What was about reports? Is it?
Sorry, it was a twofold question. It's saying some of the printable, downloadable documents that you send to parents is only available in English and Spanish. Will there be?
Got it. So that's a good question, because that's yeah. So that's a good one. We need to figure out a way to do that dynamically. Right now, the way we have done it is more static, in the sense we pre-created the English version and the Spanish version, and then we just fill in the data dynamically. But what we are talking about here is ideally, whatever language you want, be able to dynamically pull that one. So I think that's a good suggestion, and I think Horacio, we should take that and then see what we can do to make that potentially possible. So right now it is not, because the way it is done is that we have to pre-create some of those templates, and then so yeah, it is possible that we might add more common languages at least out of the gate, but ideally maybe in the future. So I think there was some other questions, Amanda asking about the robocalling also, and let's see. In the robocalling, explain how it works in terms of how it notifies the parents. Is it strictly notification through the app, or actually calls the phone numbers? Does it only call if they're signed up via cell phone, or do they need to add phone numbers to accounts? Does the school connect with the student information system? Yeah, great question. So one, ideally, if we do the integration with your student information system, all your existing contact information should be pulled in. So that's the best way. Now, every user, if let's say if that is not the case, but the teachers or parents have been invited only through email, now they will be able to go to their account and add a phone number to an existing email account. And then they can choose whether that is a phone number they want to only text, or whether they want to text and robocall, or, so there is a setting that they can control, because we want to make it, again, configurable as opposed to pushing down something that they don't want. So, and then when you send a robocall, there's two things. One is if it is an alert, as you already know, in case of an alert, we override users' notification preferences, whatever they select, but still send it through text, email, app, and so on. Now with this robocalling, they will also get text, email, app notification, and also robocall. If it is a regular post, then their preferences will be accounted for. Hopefully that answered that question. So let's see here.
What else? A question, Chaks, about behavior, and can you explain what of these improvements that we're making to the behavior component are for free, and what is for paid at the school level, classroom versus school?
Yeah, so whatever is the current behavior functionality will continue to stay in the free, which means that you have the ability to, those multiple themes are there. You can, you have class goals, individualized student goals. There is ability to customize those behaviors. You have the basic behavior reporting that you have. Whatever new things that we're adding, they are going to be part of this PBIS module that allows one to be able to standardize and make the data capture about the behaviors across an entire school. That means, one teacher observing a kid from another classroom, as I said, like at a field or hallways or where common places and so on, and so on. So there's the ability to track that or assign those behaviors across the entire school, across the student body, across grade levels. So those are all things that you will be able to do as part of this premium thing. Plus, you will also be able to have those flags that allow you to really identify somebody that requires great attention and a good job to something that requires, maybe more close watch. So things like that. So those are the things, the flags are going to be new to the, again, PBIS component. Then definitely all that analysis and reporting that I shared is part of that PBIS reporting module.
Chuck, since we're running out of time, I just wanted to launch this poll while, and maybe Paul can answer while we look at other questions. So we just wanted to know, from these features that we just talked about today, which one gets you more excited? Just tell us, what from what you've seen, what you liked most. And while we do that, let's look at some other questions.
So let me see if I can answer some more while you're doing that. Do we need to do anything prior to sync with Clever at the beginning of the school year to ensure we only have current families? So Anna, we do have in the Clever, I mean, if you're currently using Clever and moving on to the next one, there is a new option in the Clever import that says, do you want to archive the old ones and then, resync from scratch the new ones. So that one, but if you're doing manually, then we do recommend that you clear the current one, because again, the Clever one is going to pull in the new data completely. It has no correlation to the existing data. Are one of your updates to be having student to require a last name? How many parents sign up with child and only use their first name? I can't tell her. Got it. Okay. So Diana, I think that's good feedback, and we will take that suggestion and see. I think those are things that we should definitely be able to incorporate even at the smaller enhancement level. Is there a way to change setting for private messaging? For example, this is Amanda. Members of the admin team are accessible by private message. We are noticing patterns recently that parents are completely bypassing the teacher private messaging, the principal and dean, and so on. Is there a way to change settings for this communication, or possibly automated response so that the parents is something? Got it. I know that the parents can reach either the teachers in the classroom or the administrators at the school level. So this is obviously something that Amanda will follow up to see is that something that we can handle through a setting. But right now, this is the first time I'm hearing as one of the big issues. So we'll have to follow up on that one. When I had students come in late in the year, parents had trouble becoming a member of our class. I mean, if you can write to support to see what the specific scenario, it should not be. They should not have issues unless, there is a class code got changed in between, whatever. Those are the kind of more tactical issues. But from a product perspective, there should not be any limitations there. How does teacher add behavior components to each student? Is there a video tutorial? Yeah, so Amy, you can actually turn on the behavior from your class settings. There is also a video. And there's also, if you kind of at a high level, 20-minute video of all the features of Bloomz. If you search on YouTube, Bloomz for schools, and then 2020, there is a video. Maybe we can share that.
All right, we're running out of time, so just wanted to close with a couple of things. There seems to be a lot of excitement about assignments, which is great. Thank you very much for answering that poll. I know that there's a few other questions that we didn't really get to answer, but we'll follow up. And right now we're giving you a preview of all these features. There will be more information as we finalize the development of the features, and we'll certainly add to our tutorials and learning videos that where you can see more information about them. If you have any other people that you think would be interested in seeing these webinars, we'll make them available to everyone who registered. So keep an eye on your email. We'll send it again. Then if you don't mind, there's if you like what you saw, feel free to share this on Facebook or social media. You can use hashtag Bloomz News or tag us at Bloomz App, and we'll see the conversation. I do want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you, Chaks, for that walkthrough of this great functionality. And if you have any questions, you can always reach us at support@bloomz.com. with any issues or questions about functionality. If you're interested, if you're an administrator that you're interested in upgrading to the school or at the district level, let us know. Sales@bloomz.com will respond very quickly and let you know, what are the steps to move in that direction. Again, thank you very much for being here. Chaks, anything you want to add?
No, again, I would love to thank you all for taking the time to join in today and spend an hour of your time to understand what Bloomz has to offer. Just going back, when we started Bloomz, our mission was that unified experience to drive higher engagement, and it's been already 5 years with the product in the market. 4 of those years winning the best app recognition keeps us really motivated to continue to innovate. And as you can see, we are not a feature-based app in the sense like we are not stuck to a particular feature. We are a mission-based company. So we're constantly learning. We're closely working with our users. We're constantly innovating this product, and we're disrupting the space. A few years ago, people would have thought a unified app for an entire school or entire district was a dream. But now we see lots of conversations. Every day we are having these conversations about how Bloomz is able to demonstrate that with one app, and with these new enhancements, you can really see how you can get rid of 5 to 12 different destinations that you are right now forcing your users to go to with one app. So again, I would love to have those conversations. Again, if you're interested for your entire district or school, please share it. Even at the classroom level, this is a great unifying app, and we hope you like it. And particularly with these new assignments, there's going to be an opportunity to start creating that content, create library. So we're going to also recognize people who do that. So there's an opportunity for you to be an early adapter and play a big role in helping shape the future of Bloomz and how Bloomz can make a difference for your teachers, parents, and students. Thank you so much again for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye.